That wasn't me.
No fun allowed.
Marcus is a downer.
As I was saying during take one, I feel like we should tell the audience the history behind that song.
Yeah.
And if you want to know, the history behind that song is it came built in to our podcast recorder.
I did not know that.
And it actually is a physical button on our podcast recorder, which is a Zoom Supermax Pro Plus.
I'm surprised Mel didn't know that.
I did not know that.
Where
It was button number 1.
and I don't like to cross over too much. Hey, is your mic on again?
It should be. I didn't change anything when we tested.
I'm
Check
not
1,
positive,
2.
but
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
pretty sure, Ryan, you're supposed to let Marcus use the headphones because he's using the handheld.
Yeah. It is on, but it just sounded, I hear as much of you coming.
It just sounded distant.
I hear it through Mel's mic
Yeah.
more than I hear you. That's okay. Professional audio. How to Ski It, episode 28.
28.
And that the first thing on our thing was to talk about the history of the song
Oh, yeah, we just did.
that came built in.
The beatbox pad that the Roadcaster has on it.
And
And
it-
if it's fitting, I mean, it works. It's a nice little jam.
It's a nice little jam, but if you own, I think it is a Roadcaster or a Podcaster Pro, you probably are like, couldn't you? Because we have another podcast and we actually have all original music.
Yeah. Well, if Marcus banks over to the next bank of sounds, we did import some custom sounds for our podcast. It's probably episode 10 or something. So you can make them the sound pad, whatever you want, but we just stick to the roots here at BCC.
Yeah, well, that makes me laugh that you say that because if I use anything that's like built into Final Cut, I get in trouble for using standard Final Cut, whatever.
That's for a different podcast. All right, let's get started with How to Ski It, which is about skiing.
Oh, right.
You put it together. And it's a good time of year for skiing. Like
Yeah.
everything is about skiing right now, in my opinion. Like all my social comes up, it shows me skiing. And when I see friends, a friend drove by the other day, it was like, hey, want to go skiing? And stuff like that. It's ski, ski, ski. Ryan
Yeah.
is the only one that made it to the X Games.
Yeah. We talked about it on the last episode that we were all going, but
And then the van
Felt
was
like
in the
flies.
shop.
Yeah.
And the van isn't mechanically in the shop, like drivetrain, motor. It's internal power issues, which is even more frustrating. So we could have driven the van over, but we also were like, now is the time to get it fixed because it's been broken for 2 years,
yeah.
on and off. So how was the X Games?
Incredible.
Winter X. A lot of good social stuff coming out from Winter X.
Yeah, their social was solid.
Yeah, no, all through and through the event, from an operations standpoint and from a consumer standpoint, a spectator standpoint, it was fantastic. Left Friday at 4:30 a.m. Got up there, was skiing snow mess by like 9:30. We parked in the Twin Creeks lot, which is it's the best parking lot ever. It's $20, but you ski out to your car.
We call it Six Elks.
Six Elks.
It's really Two Creeks.
Two Creeks, see? Twin Creeks, Seven Elks. It's all the same.
Twin Elks.
Got a full day of skiing in, 20,000 feet. No one was there. Absolutely empty.
Nobody's ever there.
No, and it's so big, and it was so fun. The snow was okay.
I was surprised by that.
Yeah, like it was good, but it wasn't like
Marcus,
the best.
is Ryan a ski snob or did he just not know where to go?
I think he didn't know where to go.
I question because we talk about snow apps and stuff, and I follow Aspen Snowmass. Like they don't report. If you go to their website, you can break down the reports individually per mountain. But if you just go to like an app, it just shows you and I think they choose the best of the 4 mountains is what the report is, and it's been solid. So, and you're saying it was okay.
the snow quality, it seems like it had gotten warm and then cold and warm and cold, and it was crunchy on top. And the corduroy was great, but that was, the highlight. Did a lot of adult skiing.
Yeah, well, that's what Snowmass is. I mean, not that it doesn't have death-defying extremes, but that's what you should go to Snowmass for, is adult skiing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and quite a few bumps. And then that was Friday. Went over, we met up with our friends Dara and Joey, who run this Aspen operations over there. They hooked us up with some passes, so we got to go up on the top of the super pipe and watch the super pipe from the deck, which was cool. And then Saturday we went and skied Buttermilk, which I'd never skied there, and I always knew that it was kind of like a baby hill.
Sorry, I'm laughing.
But we wanted to go and watch the X Games from the hill on skis, so they had you skied down to the top of the slope style course, and you could pop your skis off and walk down about 200 meters to like the second rail feature, and you could just watch warm-ups, competition, whatever. So that was a cool experience to be able to just stand there and see how big these rails and jumps really are. And then we skied throughout the day, had dinner, and then went back out. We got a snowcat tour of the course, which was cool. The big air jump. We got to watch some of the big air from the snowcat.
That's cool.
Yeah, and that jump again is like 5 stories tall. You don't really.
Yeah.
They actually, it's cool. They brought in the snowcat driver that gave us this little, like, it just went up and around the slope style course and back down past the jump. He was actually a snowcat operator from Copper Mountain. So there was, I think he was saying 3 or 4 of their snowcat operators came over just for like this month and the month of February, because they're rolling right into the U.S. Grand Prix. So the team at Aspen was breaking down X Games and finishing the event while the U.S. Grand Prix was loading in. And so they bring in a ton of extra personnel to help with the grooming, the course changes, and all that stuff, which you don't think about. But Grand Prix didn't want their event to look anything like the X Games, so they have to completely change. Yeah, they're doing the same sort of event, slope style, street style, super pipe, big air, but they don't want it to look like on TV what X Games looked like.
Yeah.
And so it was pretty cool to watch them. They're bringing in these box trucks just full of crash pads and fencing, and they're using snowcats as their forklifts. So that was cool.
Nice.
And then obviously snowmobiles with trailers, and, just a different event operation than what we're used to.
Yeah.
No, great experience, although was not prepared for it not to be free.
And that's what kind of, when you came back, I thought last year it wasn't free because they had it sectioned off. Like there was a free section, the cheap seats. And
Yeah.
This year, there's no cheap seats.
Nope. So even if you were skiing all day and you're just hanging out at the lodge like at praying, they asked you to leave if you didn't have a ticket or a wristband on already. And then
That's a fist fight if I'm there.
which was interesting because they had the digital boards up on the way in, and when we were driving to Snowmass, it said something, sold out. X Games sold out, and we were getting close to the Intercept lot by Snowmass. I was like, oh, crazy! They're selling parking at the Intercept lot. Like we'll have to find somewhere else to park. Didn't even think about the X Games you had to pay for. And so when we got there, we had actually gotten there early, around 3:30, close to 4. So there wasn't ticket sales. Like there was no gate. You just got off the shuttle bus from the Intercept lot and walked in to Buttermilk like you were just another skier. And then luckily we hooked up with our friends, but yeah, they would have just turned us around at the gate if we got in there at 5 o'clock. Or we would have to buy a GA ticket, which was $75 a day.
Wow. That's
Yeah, so
crazy.
Well, it was 75. I was about to say, how much is just like the inexpensive? Is all the tickets the same price?
No. So 3-day pass, $199. Single day Friday, $75. Single day Saturday, $99. Sunday was $75. You could get the 3-day XIP, $1,800, which is not VIP, it's XIP, which you can go on the website and look at all the actual perks. Then they had the nighttime XIP, $2,300. The ultimate VIP was $5,500. That included one lift ticket.
That's not that bad.
Not for Aspen.
Can tell you what, I'm not going to the X Games again.
Yeah, no. It was kind of a bummer because I think if you didn't know and you went up there for the weekend, we didn't know we had to pay. We would have been stuck either not. I mean, I would have gone back and watched it on TV, but it was like, it would have been a bummer to show up and they turn you around at the door. You have to go back to the Intercept lot and get back in your car and drive home.
Yeah.
Because and it's just always been free.
This was only my second or third time ever missing it in the history of the X Games. And out of those other 20 times, I only actually went to the venue less than half of those. Like it's just a good weekend to ski.
No one's
Yeah,
there.
totally.
Nobody's skiing.
We didn't wait in a single lift line all weekend. There was no traffic.
Do you know why nobody's skiing?
They're at the
they're
X
at the
Games.
X Games.
Because they spent their money on X Games.
Well, I have to say, I told Dave before the whole van thing, I was like, man, you have your feelings hurt if I don't go to the X Games this year. I was like, it's just so cold. I just didn't want to go. And then now to hear about that you had to pay.
And it wasn't that cold.
Well, it's always cold for Mel, and especially at night.
I know. I run Chili Willy.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. Like, I agree with you. It's
It was like 25.
cold was last week at
Ooh,
Eldora.
that sounds
Yes.
terribly cold.
Yeah, like 0 is cold.
Well, and January 6th is almost over.
Oh God. Okay.
January 6th. That's a good one. That's a good one. We
We'd
did
have to
stay.
cut that out. That
Another
was really bad.
bummer. We stayed in
I'll pardon him.
Redstone.
It's fine.
We stayed in Redstone. Mel, you're going to be very upset. On our way home on Friday, I get on the phone about 30 minutes out and I call the pizza shop. Propaganda Pizza. Closed for a private event. Couldn't order dinner. Luckily, I
Didn't
called.
that happen to us last year? That happened to us not that long ago. We were
Maybe it
like,
was last year.
I think it was last year.
Closed for a private event. Luckily, I'd called ahead. If we had showed up, in Redstone, that's kind of your only option besides the Redstone Inn. We would have been hosed. What made it even worse is when we got home, the power was out in Redstone.
Oh man.
Our Airbnb, the hotel, not a single street light. The entire town was pitch black.
Wow.
Yeah, so we got into the condo and it was 65 degrees. I woke up at like 2 a.m. It was 60 degrees. And then at like 3:30, the lights popped on.
Man.
Yeah.
Did you end up going to Fat Tie in Carbondale? Like
We
what
went
did
to
you
the
get?
Golden Anvil in Carbondale.
That's where we had my mom's birthday.
It was really good.
And when we surprised her, we hid in the back.
Oh, that's right. That place is really good.
Yeah, I had
they were awesome. Like we brought flour.
And
we
just to
took
be
over a
clear, we're
whole-
talking about Carbondale, Colorado, and Redstone, Colorado.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, because we're talking about it with familiarity, Redstone, Colorado, Propaganda Pie, which is a pizza place that's just too hip, too cool.
It's so cool.
It's
and
so
then
good.
the Golden Anvil, I've only been there once, but we had a birthday party for my mom.
Cool.
And trying to hold a surprise birthday party in a public restaurant is more hard than you think. But this place went all in.
Nice.
They rearranged tables and things like that.
Yeah, they were
So,
awesome. And the food was great.
And the food was fantastic. So both those places, 5 stars easily.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
also Fat Tie, also 5 stars in Carbondale.
I don't like it.
Oh,
I don't think I've ever been. But then every morning we had bonfire coffee in Carbondale, which was good. Not that I drink coffee, but the breakfast sandwiches were next level.
New guys in town, they don't know to go to the
Exxon, trust me, I labored for it over and over. I was told
gas
no.
station.
Yeah, with the empanadas and stuff.
Oh.
I begged and pleaded. We
I gotta
were
tell
not
you-
allowed to go.
so when we drive home from there, we always stop and get the Mexican hot chocolate at the gas station.
And that's what it's called. Mel's not being.
No,
No, it's a specific kind of
I
hot
know.
chocolate. It's got like
spices.
spice in it.
It's
really good.
delightful.
Yeah, trust me. I asked more than once if we could stop for gas station breakfast, and she
Well,
wanted.
listen.
It's a good part of town. It's a good part of the state. You would say Pitkin County, but believe it or not, a bunch of that area is in Eagle County, and you go in and out of Eagle County, and just a couple miles up from Redstone is Gunnison County. So there's a whole bunch of different counties that you drive in and out of, but it's just a good area. It's the Roaring Fork Valley. And so that includes Aspen, Carbondale, Basalt, El Jebel.
I would suggest if you're going to visit Aspen, look for a place in one of these towns because not only are the people awesome, but you're close, but you're outside of Aspen, so things aren't $100 for a burger.
Yeah,
Like,
Glenwood Springs is.
Yeah.
We used to vacation in Glenwood Springs when I was a kid during ski season
Yeah.
because that's what the family could afford. So we would stay at the Ramada Inn in Glenwood, but then ski Aspen.
Yeah.
Which is,
it's a 45-minute drive, an hour drive.
which is
Yeah.
great. So if you're looking for a discount way to
Yeah.
experience the Roaring Fork Valley, the further away from Aspen you get, the more the price goes down.
And what's the
Good to know.
pass there? What's
Independence.
Independence Pass? So Isabel was sending me Airbnb. She's like, "Look, this one's only $44 a night," and I'm like, GPS it. And it's like 7 hours.
Oh, man.
Because you can't go over the pass. In the summertime, you're
got
20
it.
minutes away from Aspen, but in the wintertime, you have to go all the way around. Because the
Got
pass is
it.
closed. Like, I don't think that one's going to work.
Ooh, can I make a accommodations recommendation?
Please.
In Redstone, or just outside Redstone, there's a little place called the Avalanche Ranch, and you can rent cabins. But the cool thing about it is they have an on-site hot springs,
A real one.
real
Yeah.
one.
Nice.
So we did that one time when there were too many of us to fit in Dave's folks' house, and it's a cool little place to stay. It's on a working ranch.
It's right past the Coker ovens, right?
Yeah, no, it's further
No.
down. It's about halfway between Carbondale and Redstone. But yeah, dog friendly,
Cool.
great place, good people.
They have
Nice.
like each little cabin has its own wood stove, so you can go in, have your little warm wood stove after skiing, and it's just nice.
You have to.
I don't remember that.
Oh
one.
yeah, there's at least the one we stayed in. That was the heat,
Oh,
which
yeah.
wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
and more than anything, you had to be careful not to put too much wood in there because it would get so hot. But yeah, it was fantastic.
That
Nice.
sounds awesome.
Back to the X Games really quick, and rather than touring the Roaring Fork Valley, but we talked about there was social, but a lot of the social was both in the snowboard big air and the skiing big air.
World firsts.
First
Insane.
time, yeah, progression of the sport. First time to do was 2340,
On both of them, 2340s.
and that's 6.5 helicopters.
Yes.
6.5 360s.
That's incredible.
Doesn't
I mean,
make
It's
sense.
insane.
When I was a kid, like the best skiers in like moguls and stuff, and I know this is way different, but a double helicopter meant you won.
Yeah.
And now these people are going off jumps that, like Ryan said, are multiple stories high, and then they're doing 6.5 helicopters.
Do they call it helicopter?
That's
do.
the official term.
Well,
Yeah.
you remember when you used to not be allowed to go upside down
Yeah.
in the bumps in mogul skiing?
And now they're doing crazy.
Quadruple flips
Yeah.
and spins, and it watching it on TV and watching it live is so different because it's equally as uncomprehendable. You're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
how does even the like when the athlete lands, the announcers are like, that was a 1440, and you're like, how did you count those 4 spins?
Yeah.
Like they just, you still can't wrap your head around how impressive it is.
I had to watch the video of the snowboarder like 5 times to count for myself
Yeah. It was nuts.
because it just said, here's the first 2340, and not being a math whiz,
yeah.
I was like, and so I had to watch it over and over, and it was mind-boggling. So
Yeah.
kudos to them, and kudos to the X Games for staying relevant through progression and changing the, like you would think like charging. I mean, for 20 some years they didn't charge, and now they're charging, but it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least from what I
Sold
saw on
out.
TV, it looked jacked. There's
Yeah.
people everywhere. So kudos to them for keeping it relevant and making it a big thing and stuff like that. And I hope to go up there next year and drive by the parking lot on the way home from skiing.
Yeah.
I think a part of their success is the headliners they bring in. I think like for $75, if Big Head Todd was playing, that's a no-brainer for you.
Kids don't like big head.
I'm
talk.
saying,
But
but
he's
like
trying to make it relevant to old people
Yes.
like you.
correct.
Imagine
the
there'd be like
listeners.
500 of us there.
But no, they brought in Millennium, they brought in Big Gigantic, they brought in Dead Mouse. Like if you wanted to go see a Dead Mouse show at Red Rocks, I know it's a different venue, it's expensive, but for $75 you can go skiing at Aspen and see the X Games and see Dead Mouse.
Did he wear the mouse hat?
I didn't stay that late.
That's always been one of my issues, is that the 1 year that we did see the music, we saw Calvin Harris and he played at like 5 p.m.
So yeah, we saw Big Gigantic, but like only because we were walking outside when he started playing at 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
But I didn't stay. Those shows started at like 10:30, and I was like,
that's late.
It's too late.
Yeah.
And that's why nobody's on the mountain the next day.
Yeah.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Because the X Games are made to the young and the beautiful, which I don't think I fit either of those. But
Oh, come on, babe.
they're
Not
not.
anymore.
They're not breaking tracks in the morning either.
Yeah. Totally.
Some of them.
But I would also like to give the X Games kudos for like they are increasing their tech game and their graphics game. Like, I mean, the FPV drones were really cool. And then I noticed that they had a backup. It used to be the camera operator followed them down the middle of the
half pipe
things. And now, like, there's a guy stationed obviously at the top of the pipe. There's clearly somebody at the base of the pipe, and then the FPV. And the minute they lose the drone, they hit one of those stationary cameras, and then their graphics are really good. Like, they're always leveling up. So kudos to them.
It was good. I watched a little bit of it, but more than anything, it just flowed across my social feed, which was cool.
Yeah.
I didn't see a whole lot of it on TV. Actually, I didn't see any of it. Saturday night, we went and sat at the bar at the bottom, which was kind of like the hidden local staff watering hole, VIP, XIP, something. I don't know. There was like 20 TVs, and they were all playing the NBA.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And then he asked, I said, hey, can we get the X Games on? He said, nah, this is a Roku TV. And then I looked it up, and you can watch it on Roku TV, but we were at the X Games at a bar, not watching the X Games.
That's funny.
I was like, what is happening? So
kudos to them. And
yeah, great
glad,
event.
I'm glad you guys made it. I'm disappointed that you skied Buttermilk over Ajax and Highlands, but choices had to be made.
Yeah, and they weren't all mine.
But you also had a ski pass, so it didn't matter.
It didn't matter, no. And
because to spend a couple $100 to ski Snowmass is a big lift.
yeah, definitely.
So, and it's not a terrible place, but it just doesn't.
I will say there in the trees there was untracked snow at Buttermilk. Like it had obviously fallen days and days before, but I feel like that's a mountain that on like 4 days after a powder day and Highlands and Snowmass and Ajax are tracked out, you could probably go find some.
Because it's not a mountain, Ryan. It is a hill. I mean, come on.
I think it's, if somebody could pull it up, but I think it has a fair amount of vertical feet, that it's not the least amount of vertical feet in the state by any means.
It was like 7 runs, 10,000 feet.
Yeah, I think it's 1,600 something vertical
We
feet.
skied the furthest left.
Well, you know what?
Anyway.
Yeah, and I should go ski it before I bag on it, but
You never been there?
I'm sure as a child,
Yeah.
but yeah, my parents.
But once he started skiing, adult skiing,
and then now I ski adult skiing. So-
It's some A+ adult skiing there.
I believe
Like,
it.
we're talking groomers that are like a half mile wide.
Buttermilk has a vertical rise of 2,030 feet.
So twice what Eldora has.
Yep.
So,
Let's go back to your anthill, Mel.
all right. Well, good stuff on the X Games. Ryan and Izzy got to ski there. And me and Mel and Marcus skied Friday at Eldora. It was good, cold. And then we skied Sunday at Eldora, and it was great.
It was.
And I can't believe we went there on a Sunday, and we avoided crowds until we left. And I think I broke more tracks that day. And what I mean, that means when you're skiing, making turns, and you're not skiing over somebody else's tracks, that we broke tracks for 4 runs straight.
Yeah.
By knowing
100%.
where to go.
And both of us broke separate tracks. Because there was times where I was in your line, but usually we split up in those trees and we were both finding fresh tracks.
It was a great day.
It was great.
And then one takeaway was we came down towards the end of the day, and the main 6-person chair was just blown out the gates. It was like a rock festival. And we decided to sit it out. Let's see. And we went and got in the singles line.
Yep.
And so that's a good tip. If you're with a party of 6, the singles line isn't that convenient. But if it's just 2 of you, we went into the singles line. I didn't realize that it was 2 singles lines that merge into one.
Yep.
But even with, and that was blown out the gates.
It was.
But even with that, it took 8 minutes.
Yeah, it was not bad.
8 minutes is not that bad.
I feel like lift lines are like TSA at the airport, where if you time it, it's like 6 to 8 minutes, but it feels like 20.
Yeah.
Like every time you're in, you're like, man, that lift line was 25 minutes long. And if you had actually, or same with TSA, like, man, this TSA line, I'm going to miss my flight. And like 7 minutes later, your bags are coming out the conveyor belt.
Yeah.
I feel like, especially the singles line, because it's always moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was
helps
a
with the
20-minute
single.
line.
Oh,
I thought it was a 20-minute line when we got in. And I don't usually look at my watch and time it. And that's why I looked at my watch and timed it.
Yeah.
It'd be a fascinating experiment. One person times it, the other person tries to guess how long it was.
Ooh, I like that.
Because I bet you the person guessing is going to be way over.
Way high, yeah.
Yeah, because it always feels longer than it is.
Yeah, that's interesting. And one last thing about Eldora, They have this big, like, boombox,
Yeah.
That's right.
and they have a DJ in there. And
It is a boombox.
It looks
literally
exactly
a
like a
boombox.
boombox.
in the past, the music they played coming out of that was like from the South Park episode Tween Wave.
For
Like
the young and pretty.
I don't even want to get into music, but what's coming out of it is, and I'm not like an old fuddy-duddy, but it's just terrible music. And on Sunday, they had a DJ,
Yep.
and it was playing like some kind of groove, and it was sweet. And
Yeah.
it still wasn't
It's
the
good.
kind of music I listened to, but it wasn't the Tween Wave from South Park, from Steamy Nicks.
Oh man.
And we had lots of snow this week.
And it snowed.
did,
It's been
yeah.
snowing every day, and it's been really cold.
Yep.
And so the whole, it's funny, I was just talking to a friend, and I told him I was planning to travel a lot this year for skiing, and I haven't because the central mountains of Colorado are essentially doing the best in the country. I know Montana, northern Montana, I think is doing really good too.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about Canada and around the world, but
Right.
central mountains of Colorado are on fire.
On fire.
And speaking of the central mountains of Colorado, USA Today came out with a top 10. And every year, every ski mag, every publication, everybody comes out with a top 10. And we're going to come out with one too, because this one cracked me up. Like there were moments in it where I was like, "Aw," like they get it. And then when I got down to the top ones, I hope we don't upset some people, but it was just laughable. So here we go.
Well, and so just to put context, so this is the USA Today 10 best ski resorts of 2024, picked by the readers.
Yeah. And I'm still going to, I could understand if it was like somebody stuffed the ballot.
Yeah, I think we know where the readers come from. Is
Well, the other thing too is like a lot of times if it says the best top 10 for families or for whatever, but this is the reader poll.
Yeah.
Well, it was, and didn't it say readers and their editors?
the title just says readers top 10 picks.
Okay.
Our editors and readers independently select what you see on 10 best when you that's their affiliate thing. So their editors and readers select what you see.
And I don't know how that's weighted. Every
Yeah.
reader had a single vote. The readers had a single vote and the editors had 100 votes. I don't know. But nevertheless, as we read through it, you'll start to realize. So at number 10, and I haven't skied here, but my sister has a lot and she says I would love it. Mammoth Mountain in Mammoth Lakes, California. I know there's a run there called like Dave's Run or Dave's Chute. That's a really steep run at the top. And everybody that skis there is like, you should go ski that run. And I was like, I have. It's named after me. But I haven't ever been there.
I've never heard anything bad about Mammoth.
Snow conditions.
Warmth.
That it can get warm
Yeah.
and get heavy. Number 9, and this is where I went, Winter Park, Colorado. I do believe that Winter Park potentially is in the top 10 in the country. Potentially. Everybody, like if you don't love moguls, then you'd have to scratch Mary Jane, which is
Yeah.
a third of all of Winter Park. Number 8, Snowbird. Incredible. And riding a tram beats all other forms of transportation. A little more dangerous
Yeah.
than your typical chairlift, but beats all of them. And then never even heard of it, and Ryan maybe has, because it's Cannon Mountain, New Hampshire.
No.
And it's in Franconia. I've been to Laconia, and so it sounds the same, but I haven't been to Cannon Mountain. And then number 6, and this was the big, was Copper Mountain, Colorado. And I've always said, I think it's one of my favorite. Is it the 6th best ski area in America? I don't know. I love Copper, so I'm going to let you slide on that one.
I think it has a place in the top 10.
Maybe 9.
Yeah, not 6.
And then 5, Heavenly Mountain in South Lake Tahoe. I've been there in the summer. I've never been there in the winter. But one of the things that blew me away in the summer is when one guy pointed up and he said, that's a run. And I was like, that's a cliff. He's like, that's a run. So I'd love to ski there. And then number 4, this is probably one of the few that seems to fit where it is Steamboat. And if you like trees and you like good snow and good nightlife.
I was going to say, I wonder how much of this goes into the town, because a mountain like Copper has better skiing, but not a nightlife.
And this is where things go off the rails here is number 3.
Oh, no.
Because it's not America, it's North America. So by announcing number 3 here, it's going to leave some people out. But it's Banff. I have heard Banff is the most beautiful ski area in the world, but not the best ski area in the world. So that's number 3. And this is where I was like, okay, this can't be real. And number 2 is Mount Bohemia in Michigan.
Never heard of it.
I know that they have like 2,000 vertical feet because I'm like, what?
And
Yeah.
like 4 mountains.
And we have a friend in the studios from Michigan, and now he's
His
like,
ears are all perked
He's
up.
leaned over. He wants to participate. He said it's very cool.
Yeah, Mount Bohemia is really interesting. It's quite treacherous, but it's a lot of fun to go there.
second best ski area in North America.
Yeah.
Okay,
Have you been?
sit down.
You're fired.
You're out.
And then here comes number 1. And then already, if you must know, like, where are all the major ski areas in North America? Number 1, Snow Basin Resort in Utah. And I've been there, but I haven't skied. I went to the Olympics and watched the downhill, knowing that Peekaboo Street would win, and she took 16th.
On a day, on a rescheduled day.
Yeah, and she just got a bad start order.
sucks.
Yeah, it was because she was a shoe-in.
I loved her.
Yeah, it still do. But, okay, so, and we won't go on all day. No Vail,
Yeah.
no Aspen Snowmass, no Whistler,
No Taos.
no Taos. And again, right now, Taos, again, is an acquired taste because you got to like advanced skiing.
Totally right. Crested Butte.
No Telluride, Crested Butte, Beaver Creek, Park City. Like,
Yeah.
this is insane.
So
Squaw
before,
Valley.
I just read the description for Mount Bohemia and I laughed out loud. It averages 273 inches of light, fluffy snow each season and offers the longest runs and most vertical drop of any ski area in the Midwest with a 900-foot vertical drop.
That's it?
That's it.
Well, I mean, again,
In the
Eldora's,
Midwest. I mean, there is a disclaimer in there. In the Midwest.
Eldora's 1,000. So.
Yeah, well, Eldora's 1,000, and we're
in
like,
Colorado.
Eldora's this really small mountain.
It's the furthest east I've ever skied. So I don't know. And the readers, obviously, we saw Ryan get his cackles up and came over. And so I figure they just stuffed the ballot box.
They've never left.
What are your favorite 10? I'll tell you what, the only ski area on this list, I'll admit I haven't skied Mammoth, but I believe it deserves to be in the North America top 10. Snowbird, maybe. Copper Mountain, maybe. I love Winter Park, but I don't think it makes it in there. Heavenly, I don't know. I haven't skied there. Steamboat, maybe. So there's only 4 of them that maybe should even be in there.
Yeah.
And none of the top 5 ski areas,
Jackson Hole.
the
Yeah.
top 5 ski areas, in my opinion, are in this list.
I have skied fewer than 10 resorts, so I don't feel like my opinion is really super valid in this.
Yeah,
we-
Jackson Hole might be number 1
What was the name of the
because
place?
it has a tram.
Yeah.
Has everything.
It does have everything. What's the name of the little place that you can ski? Jackson Hole, it's near Jackson, but it's
Man, why can't I think of the name? It's a ski area that's in the town of Jackson Hole, in the town of Jackson, and you'd have to look
Okay,
it up.
I'll Google
but
it.
it's
I can't believe I
it's
can't
a
remember.
complete racket. You can stay there and save a fortune, and then you just drive 30 minutes to the ski area.
Nice.
And I've heard there's decent skiing, and we stayed and we had a room that looked up on the mountain of this little ski area, and it looked
No, I'm talking about the place that's
and it looked amazing.
Grand Targhee.
that's on the
not-
other side of the pass in Idaho.
That's Idaho, yeah.
But what's the name of the place that it's you have to ski with a buddy? Why can't I think of that name?
Oh, you're thinking in Montana. That's Bridger Bowl,
Oh, that is. Oh, you're right. You're
and
right.
that's the steeps at Bridger Bowl. You have to not only have a buddy, but both have to have transponders, shovels, and probes.
Yeah.
In order to get through the gate to go ski back there. But that's something else. But
you're
there is
right.
a little
I just got
ski area
confused.
in the town of Jackson,
Snow King.
Snow King. And you can stay there. We stayed at the Snow King Resort, came with breakfast, all this stuff. And then it might even have come with lift tickets. And we were like, no, we're good.
That's so funny.
And went to Jackson. So not a whole lot else to talk about, but one thing I did cross, and I shared it with you guys, was an article. And if you've been skiing at Eldora or Copper Mountain, I think Winter Park is in here. And I know there's more. But there's these signs that are on the mountain, and the signs say, she was 5, you were going 50. And I got the meaning behind the signs. Like, it didn't need much. Oh, and it has a little picture of a snow angel.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more to that story. And it was interesting. I think it was in the Summit Daily News that there was an article, and Marcus, maybe you can fill us in a little bit more, on Chauncey and Kelly Johnson, who lost their daughter in a ski accident. And I don't know how you get through that, but these guys turned it into like a safety campaign.
Yeah, it was Summit Daily that had the update on it. I know, Ryan, you had made some notes on it. Did you want to talk through that?
Yeah, no, it was 2010 Christmas Eve. Kelly and her daughter, Elise, were skiing, and a snowboarder hit them and killed the daughter, and Kelly had traumatic brain injury.
The snowboarder died too.
The snowboarder died as well. And then so Kelly was in like a medically induced coma for a while. She survived. The daughter did not. And then so Chauncey, the husband, went out on this mission, like, how can we prevent this or try and prevent this and raise awareness from this? And it was originally Ride Another Day campaign in 2017 that they started. And then in 2023, it was the Snow Angel Foundation is what it kind of transitioned into, which is why you see the Snow Angel on the signs. And I can't even imagine what that was like. In the article, Chauncey, they say that it was very, very traumatic for him because he lived through it all, and Kelly was in a coma. So even Kelly came out and was like, I didn't really experience everything that my husband did, and he left his job and is doing this full time. And it's a really, really good article. Really unfortunate circumstances, but a good cause.
How much more meaningful are those signs after you learn the story? Like we skied yesterday at Eldora, and man, that sign had so much more meaning.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And they have a website. It's the Snow Angel Foundation .com, I believe.
.org.
.org.
Yep.
And I think the reason we're bringing this story up is it's always at the beginning of the season. You see a lot more straight liners. I haven't seen a lot of straight liners, and the cops were out in force at Eldora yesterday. We call them the cops, but they're yellow jacket safety people. But man, like it's unfortunate something like this happens, but it's not too late to like slow down, you know. And I don't want to make light of it, but I'm amazed how many people don't have a concept of physics.
Yeah.
Of what your real options are at 50 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Which are in 50 feet, your options are zero.
Yeah.
Right.
You are at the mercy of whatever happens. And so going 50 miles an hour around other people is kind of a jerk move because it doesn't matter how good you are. You were skiing behind me the other day at like 30 miles an hour when I hooked an edge.
Yeah.
It was masterpiece recovery.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and for me, like I'm a small person, and going down Jolly Jug at Eldora, especially early season, people are going so fast around you and they're straight lining. And then you just know that if you make a mistake, they're going to hit you. And if they make a mistake, they're going to hit, like they can come, from behind. You never see them coming and they crash into you. And so it's just, I mean, snowboarding is about turns. Make turns. Show your style.
Slow down.
Yeah.
And be safe. Like there's like, I'm not even advocating going 50 miles an hour as we all have, but there's places where it's much more reasonable when there's nobody below you, there's nobody on the run, and the only person you're going to injure is yourself. Still not a great idea. Like 50 miles an hour is a lot of speed on skis, but doing it when there's other people anywhere in your vision is a jerk move, and you deserve
It's irresponsible
to get your pass pulled. I was going to say punched in the face, but
But we're going to go with
But pass pulled, yes.
pass pulled.
That's the thing is even before knowing the depth of that story of the whole Snow Angel Foundation, it's always been a safety thing. But like, not only did that guy, and I'm betting it doesn't go into like what happened on the mountain, but I'm betting he lost control and hit both of them. He obviously, he wasn't trying to hit anybody, but you got to ski and snowboard in a way that you can stop, that you can control yourself. And like you said, when there's people below you, they can't always see you, and you can't know what they're going to do. So don't go 50 miles an hour trying to pass them, or, oh, they're on the other side of the hill. Well, they might cut across. They might hook an edge and not have enough control to turn back out of your way. They might hook an edge and have to go this way, and you need to be able to stop as well.
And I was just jokingly said when I caught an edge the other day, imagine if somebody was behind me going 50.
Yeah.
They would not have expected that all of a sudden I would taking a right turn because I hooked something.
Yep.
And so you don't know. So be safe out there. Because I think reading this article, I think all of us, we don't put other people in danger.
Yep.
But a lot of people out there do. And you're not being fair to the other people out on the mountain and again, you don't know how old they are. You don't know how soft they are. Like, yeah, you run into a professional football player, he's probably going to get back up and you're going to be hurt.
Yeah.
But if you run into a child or just anybody who or just takes a bad impact,
yeah,
it can be broken bones and spinal injuries, and it's part of skiing that doesn't have to be part of skiing.
Yeah.
Is people skiing out of control inbounds. Like if you want to go out of control, go up to Berthoud, get a saucer sled and let it rip. And you know what?
Just point it.
It would rip.
I will bow down to you as the craziest person on the planet, but you're not going to run into other people that aren't in their car.
Yeah.
I got in trouble the other day at Eldora too, speaking of safety, for not telling you guys I was following you into the trees, and then I had a crash, and
we could go on all day about safety, but yeah. And me and Marcus have had a few days in a row, just the two of us, and we've done pretty good.
Yeah.
And then the one place we always get split up is the lower mountain trees, but then now we kind of have this meeting point.
Yes.
Because we like different lines. And so, but yeah, we could go on all day about safety, but
I think
slow down.
The resorts have leaned into it too. I think not only with the Snow Angel Foundation, but you see all the signs to slow down. Turns are cool. Space, not speed. Like it's everybody. It's a reminder all the time. So it's weird when people are just blatantly ignoring the signs.
Here's the one thing that the skiers could do to improve on it. Enough with the warnings.
Oh, yeah.
That when you're going 50 miles an hour inbounds,
go home.
Your pass should get taken. Now, should it get taken for the rest of your life? Probably not. The rest of the year? Maybe not. But when you just come down and say this is a warning,
what do they learn?
I hate to say it, but it's not young people. It's Americans.
Yeah.
Are like, that's a freebie. Like when you got a warning for speeding, did you slow down? Never.
No, I just
I'm talking about in cars.
Yeah, I just spent the next week making sure I looked everywhere before I.
Yeah, I just tried to make sure I didn't get caught again.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've had, just to be clear, to like not act like I'm casting no stone, I had my pass taken from skiing too fast once.
Yeah,
and that's the right way to deal with people like me.
Yeah,
and so and I haven't skied recklessly. Recklessly. I haven't done that since then. That was like it was right before the pandemic.
Yeah.
I do think.
And it was because of Strava.
Did you have to? It's
Yes,
Strava's
it was.
fault. Not mine, Strava's. Did you have to take a class?
No, because I would have to get my pass back, but then the pandemic hit.
Okay, I was going to say, I think now when they take your pass, it's not like a 7-day hold. It's you don't get it back until you go take the safety class.
I like
They should
that.
have made me
That's
take
cool.
a class. And I deserved it.
Yeah.
I deserved the yelling I got, and I deserved having my pass taken because I felt like I was completely in control. But there we are again.
Did you get the Strava segment?
I didn't get it. I know.
All that for nothing.
All that for nothing. But again, I don't care how good you are at 50 miles an hour, you hook an edge or go off a blind jump.
Hit a patch of ice.
There's nothing you can do.
Flat light, you don't see a bump.
And that's why they should have taken my pass, and then I deserved it.
Well, and then to talk about one other thing, when you're skiing with friends, I don't know if you saw this happen, Dave. It was while we were on the chairlift, and there was a dude standing looking downhill. It was on Corona, and a snowboarder came up behind him and turns and starts and like hits him in the ankles, not insanely hard, but it turns out it was his buddy, and he was trying to spray him, but he didn't have enough control and skied into him. And I was like, why would you do that? Especially your friend didn't know you were coming.
Well, that's the best time to spray somebody.
Well, if you if you have the capability to spray someone, maybe.
Fair enough,
I would like to say, speaking of friends and Strava, I owe a huge I'm sorry to my friend PX, because I took the local legend on Strava
I'm cutting this out.
for just the tongue, and she let me know. So it's on like Donkey Kong.
She's back at it. She's out there right now.
I know, right?
Wait, would you say the name of that segment again?
It's called Just the Tongue. It's Wolf Tongue at Eldora.
Nice.
Oh man.
I don't know how I feel about the local legends in skiing, because I got one too. I wasn't going to brag about it, but there's no way that there isn't 500 people at Eldora that skied that run more than me. So something's broken.
Interesting.
There's no way. There's a zero chance that I'm the local legend on a run. I haven't skied Eldora as much as I will by the end of the year.
Well, the reason that I got that was that I literally did, I don't know, 7 runs on that run that day, because I was not feeling like going into the deeps and deeps.
You did do some laps on it. So one last thing to talk about.
Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I just opened my Strava because I was like, oh, that's curious. I'm second place on the Sunnyside chairlift.
Which
Going
is
up?
a little kid's chairlift.
Going up.
At Mary Jane?
Mary Jane.
Yeah.
A second place. What?
Like fastest known time?
Fastest time. Yeah, fastest of all. There's only... I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
I don't know. One last thing we forgot to talk about yesterday is me and Marcus skied a tree run, and then we popped out of the trees and we saw the ski police waiting in a big group. And so we're not skiing too fast, so it doesn't matter. But then that kid wiped out. And
Yes. Oh my gosh.
He hit the ground so hard, and I felt bad because I just busted into laughter. And I didn't mean to.
Poles and skis just
And then
up
he
in
was
the
like,
air.
"Ooh!" And we were right there. Like we didn't cause him to wreck or anything. We just pulled out of the trees, and then right in front of us, I'm talking NFL impact on the snow.
Sounds like a dying elk.
Oh, man.
Well, did the ski police come over? Did anybody even try to help this person?
He was getting up.
He was getting up
yeah.
and trying to see who was laughing at him. And it was incidental.
It was so sudden
Yeah,
that
so
you couldn't have
spontaneous.
planned. Yeah. I don't know what happened. I don't know how he did it, but it was just like he was fully vertical, and then the next second he is on the ground and everything has exploded. It was like skis and poles everywhere. It was so sudden that you couldn't help but go, oh.
You could feel it.
Yeah.
You could feel it in your boots. It was. I hate to laugh at people's.
Well, we get to laugh because we've all been on that side
Oh,
of
yeah.
things.
If I fell that hard yesterday, I wouldn't be here today.
Yeah.
But I'm older than that kid was.
Yeah, he got back up. He was popping
I
up.
took a good face plant at Snowmass.
So
Just Mogo
Trying to
caught
jump
my
again?
No. Mogo caught my right ski, and next thing you know, I was doing the ballerina.
Yeah.
And you're backwards, you're forwards, you're backwards. You're like, I need to fall down. I'm gaining too much speed. And I chose the face, I guess.
So a couple last things. We were going to talk about chairlift accidents, and we'll push that to the next episode as much as I'm sure everybody was waiting. And it was better than expected when we did our research. Not better in survival rates, but better in the amount of data, because it is an actual form of transportation in the United States. So the government looks at it very closely, like the NTSB and stuff like that. And they're less dangerous than I thought. Like Dylan was saying, it's like an airplane. It's right in the middle.
Walking is more dangerous.
Elevators are more dangerous. But we'll talk more about that. I did want to mention one more time to go to snowangelsfoundation.org and check that out. And when you see those signs, let that be a reminder. And then last quick little thing, found a super cool app that I think can help you find better snow. And it's called shademap.app. Shademap.app.
Which is a web page.
Which is a web page. And you can go in and pick your location. So we picked my house, and then we also picked Eldora. And then you can grab this little slider and scroll through the day and see where the shadows are going to be. And shadows typically mean good snow. Now in the spring, when it's 50 degrees during the day and 20 at night, shadows don't play as big of a role. But this time of year, if you want to know where the good snow is, look at your ski area, look at the shadows, the shademap.app map for your ski area. And it was amazing because we already knew where the good skiing was.
Do they have an app?
At our favorite.
They don't have an app, but you can use the webpage on your mobile.
On your phone,
Yep.
And we already knew where the good skiing was at our favorite ski areas, and the shade map confirmed why. Because they faced the right direction, and this time of year, steep, north-facing slopes don't see any sun all day.
Yeah. It's that shade map, like literally just go to it and play with it. Immediately you're going to be mind blown. It's so cool. Even in a city, like you can see the tops of the buildings, and when the tops of the buildings get covered by the light, you can see Chautauqua, the shadow of Chautauqua going over Boulder. It is sick.
Super cool. And the minute I saw it, it made me start thinking about skiing.
Yeah.
So when I looked at my neighborhood, where there's the most shade is where the snow is. Right now we have snow covering everything.
Yeah.
But usually we don't. It's snow, grass. And where that snow sits is where the shade map says is going to be shady all day. And I personally think you could translate this into where good skiing is. I think you can figure it out without the map, but I think the map will help you figure out where good skiing is at your local ski area. And go look at the south-facing bowls at Vail, and you'll see why they're typically pretty rough.
Yeah.
This is a good time of year to ski them because it's cold, but most of the year they're really crunchy and crispy because they fade south and they don't see shade.
Yeah,
Shade
100%.
is good. I like sun, but shade is good. So anyway, next time we're going to talk about the 34 ski resort accidents that are on record.
Yeah.
And why they happened. And most of them, it's pretty rare.
Yeah, it is. That's what we discovered in our research, is that it's actually quite rare.
And one last thing on that for you to think about is the bar for a ski accident is 1 death or 10 injuries.
For it to get reported?
That's how that one that place we found was.
That's how it
was
quantified what a ski lift accident was. Because if just one person gets injured, it's serious, but it's not necessarily a ski lift accident.
Well, and we're talking about malfunctions, not little Susie fell off because her ski got caught loading the lift.
Little Susie and her 10 friends fell off. That would classify as a ski lift accident. But if just little Susie falls off,
because when I hear ski lift accident, I'm thinking like cable snaps, bull wheel breaks.
And I think that's why they have that designation. Someone falling off and getting injured
Not
doesn't
some drunk
necessarily
guy
get
jumping
called.
and breaking his leg.
So, and if you Google it, so we found
Wait.
the most comprehensive, so you can get ready for the next episode and be educated. Go to illicitsnowboarding.com. If you just Google it and then find the illicitsnowboarding.com article, is so well done.
Yeah.
It's nothing but, you don't even have to know how to read to be able to get, I'm serious.
Yeah, it's really
a
good.
ton of infographics.
And when you see an infographic with a little picture of a plane, don't be confused. That means the plane took out the gondola.
Okay, y'all are
That's legitimately
this is way
what's
too
happening.
much. You can go look at it, but if you really just want to get the feels, then just listen next time.
Yeah, and we'll go through 20 of the 34. So, anyway, follow us online. We got people are reaching out. The podcast is growing, which is super exciting. Every week we have more listeners than the week before. Hopefully this episode doesn't stem that. But we're growing, and then we've had requests to get out there and get back to the videos. And I think that's something we're going to work hard on doing.
Yeah.
Although we have done every piece of meaningful skiing at Eldora.
True.
There is some at Copper Mountain we could still do.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Honestly, there's
Winter
quite a
Park.
bit at Copper that we can still do.
And then me and Mel might just leave you guys behind and go do the Chair 3 trees at Vale. And the shade map says they never see sun.
Nice.
Ever.
I was gonna volunteer to be your camera operator.
What about the ones at Eldora that we never ski because they don't have an exit? Right,
What do you mean?
right to the skiers left of the whatever chair that is,
That's out
Super
of
helpful.
Indian Peaks?
Indian Peaks. Like, you know, when you come down past Wolf Tongue, you're going back to the front. They're right there on the left-hand side by the corner.
Oh, yeah.
What are they called?
And another one we haven't done at Eldora, which would be fun, is Placer Glade, which yesterday
I think that's maybe what I'm
I
talking
did
about.
go to look to see if it's open.
Oh,
and it
by
is
Ambush.
open.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah, we've got more coming.
we're going to make more movies, videos, shorts, iPhone videos. But join us again. This was episode 28. Coming up next, episode 29, and we will focus on lift accidents, I promise.
Oh yeah,
Awesome.
Plaster Glades. That's the one.
All right. I wanted to go ski it yesterday.
Was it open?
It is.
Hmm.
But
I've only been in there
Is
twice,
this
and it
still
gets
part of the
it gets
episode,
sketchy.
or have we
Indian
moved
Peaks
on?
lift line looked really shabby yesterday, is why I didn't go into Placer Glade. Like the whole mountain is skiing good, except under the Indian Peaks chairlift looked terrible.
I feel like not a lot of people go in Plaster Glades.
They don't because it's difficult. EX. All right. As soon as Marcus hits the button,